19 hours on from the start of round one of the TCR International Series for 2016. The Bahrain International Circuit looks very different for the start of round two. Hello again, everyone. This is Mark James in the commentary box for what promises to be another half hour or so of exciting, thrilling touring car action. That's what we had last night for the opening round of the TCR International Series. Some great battles, some incidents, some casualties, but we had a very memorable race to start us off here in Bahrain. We look down at the grid. Green flag is a little over 4 minutes away, and the 18 cars who started round one will also start round two. Our non-starter, remember, Attila Tassi in the B3 Racing Seat Leon, a casualty in free practice. There is the grid for race two. An unfamiliar name, two unfamiliar names at the front of the grid. David Kajaya from Georgia on pole position. His first ever weekend in the TCR International Series. Alongside him, Jean-Carl Vernet, a class winner at Le Mans, but again new to TCR. Kevin Gleeson on the second row of the grids, alongside Mato Homola. Aku Pelinen from Finland, Pepe Oriola, our race winner last night. Gianni Morbidelli, James Nash, Dusan Borkovic, and our pole sitter for race one, Sergei Afanasiev, 10th on the grid. As I say, 18 cars. With the back row of the grids, the two Baskuten Racing 2015 Seat Leons of Salman Al Khalifa and Hussein Karimi. Confidence growing with every session that they spend in those cars. They're very familiar with the Bahrain circuit, currently first and third respectively in the Bahrain Circuit Championship in Hondas, but new to all of this TCR game. There is Kajaya, 32 years of age, from Georgia, a policeman in his day job, and Georgia regards him very much as an ambassador for the sport. Several high-profile government ministers from Georgia have traveled here to support him, and what a way he's had of showing his pleasure that they're here. 10th in qualifying means, because of the reversed grid, he sits on pole position for round two. But what can he do about this man, Jean-Carl Vernet, JK? Didn't finish round one last night because of an incident at turn one, more of which in a moment. But Vernet knows that he has a good chance of doing something in that beautiful, I call it turquoise, I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but to my mind the most attractive livery on the grids, the Leopard Racing Volkswagen Golf. There you see on the left of your screen in the middle his teammate Stefano Camini, 2015 champion, 11th on the grid. And it was Camini that was behind that incident last night at turn 1, which ended with both Vernet and this man, Kevin Gleeson, being forced to retire. I spoke to Kevin earlier. His birthday yesterday, not the best birthday present, a non-finish on the first round of the series. He starts from 3rd on the grid, and so we'll be hoping for a good start, hopefully adding to his toll of TCR race victories. I talked about the difference in conditions. Race 1, of course, under floodlights last night. Track temperature about 21 degrees or thereabouts, if I remember correctly. This afternoon, the searing heat of a Middle East Sunday afternoon. Track temperature 44 degrees currently. So goodness knows what the conditions are like inside the car. Air temperatures of 27. So Mato Homola there, 4th on the grid, leaving the doors of the cars open as long as possible to get some air in. And we are about 45 seconds away from the green flag lap, the formation lap, which will bring the cars round back onto the grid to await the start lights. Team personnel clearing the grid. Kajaya there on the lower right of your screen. The heat haze shimmering from the Bahrain International Circuit. Opening venue of the TCR International Series, and we're acting as the appetizer this afternoon for the main event, Formula One, which will be here in a few hours' time. It's their turn to run at night this evening. As the green lights go on, the formation lap then, Kajaya leads the cars away. Only started competing about 4 or 5 years ago, and has mainly competed in circuit racing and rallying in Georgia. But in 2015, he was the class winner in the TC2T class in the European Touring Car Cup. So clearly, David Kajaya knows how to pedal a touring car. There is our race winner from last night, Pepe Oriola. There is Gianni Morbidelli. There is James Nash. Brilliant fight between the two last night for much of the race. And the other scrap that captivated us last night was the battle for 8th place between Mato Homola and our pole sitter David Kajaya, only being resolved in the last few meters of the race when Homola managed to nose ahead in the dash for the line after the 10 laps. So the drivers then weaving to get heat into their tyres. You saw briefly 2 cars that finished outside the points last night. The Soul Subaru, driven by Luigi Ferrara, and the Soul Alfa Romeo, the Giulietta of Michele Cerruti. The cars still very young in their development. The Alfa only running for the first time this weekend in anger, although of course we saw the Subaru towards the end of last year's TCR International Series. And amongst the buzz on social media last night, unfair not to mention, the buzz surrounding the release of a teaser image quite late last night by Kia Austria of a Seed TCR car, which immediately set social media buzzing. And that will apparently appear, we're told, sometime this season. A full announcement to come, but let's concentrate on the matter in hand. Round 2 of the TCR International Series, 10 more laps or half an hour, because of course we're fitting into a very tight timetable here in Bahrain. And if we're in for anything like another run like we did last night, it'll be an extremely exciting race. You can get some idea there of the kind of scenery that surrounds the circuit. And this island kingdom of Bahrain, the circuit around a half-hour drive or so from the kingdom's capital, and also some fairly decent changes of elevation in this 5.2 kilometre circuit. First opened in 2004. It's hosted a round of the Formula One series virtually every year since. And it is, of course, the first time that the TCR International Series has visited the series with Formula One 3 times this year. Here in Bahrain, again at Sepang in Malaysia, and another night race in Singapore towards the end of the year. So the cars will be lining up on the grid. David Kajaya, final few weaves to get the heat into his tyres, heads down to his position on the grid. 17 more cars will line up behind him. 5 red lights on, 5 lights off will send us racing. And you have to say, a bit of gamesmanship already taking place. Kajaya very early into his pole position box. Everyone else taking their times to form up. So the start will be crucial. What can Kajaya do? More importantly, what can Jean-Carl Vernet do from alongside him on the grid, and what can Kevin Gleeson do from row 2? Oriola and Morbidelli back in the pack, but you have to say, both James Nash and Pepe Oriola made great starts last night. Can they repeat that here in the heat of this Sunday afternoon in Bahrain? Final few cars getting into position. There is the green flag starting, signalling that the grid is ready. The lights go on one by one. They go out, and we are away for round 2 of the 2016 TCR International Series. And indeed, Kevin Gleeson appears to have made the best start. Aku Pelinen also alongside J.K. Vernet. It looks like it's Honda 1-2 going into turn 1. Kajaya goes round the outside, but indeed it is Kevin Gleeson who leads from Aku Pelinen. From Kajaya, oh, Vernet gets it sideways, something flapping underneath the Golf. Then it's one of the B3 Racing, the grey Seats. Through turn 4, 3 cars alongside each other, a little bit of jostling, but they're safely through. As Kevin Gleeson in the number 24, West Coast Racing Honda, leads his young Finnish teammate in a 1-2 for the Hondas. There is James Nash. Pepe Oriola already alongside Jean-Carl Vernet, as Stefano Camini runs very, very wide there. So Gleeson from Pelinen, from Vernet, from Oriola, from Homola, it is in the B3 Racing Seat, from Nash, Kajaya having dropped all the way back to 7th. Quite a few cars taking to the runoff. Morbidelli currently 8th, Comini 9th, Grachov 10th, Borkovic down to 11th. As Homola takes a look up the outside of Nash, thinks better of it. And Homola also taking a look at the inside of Morbidelli. Comini has dropped back. Oh, and again, and there's body damage to the rear of Vernet's car. And you can see something trailing under the back of the car, and you have to say, is this retirement number 2 for Jean-Carl Vernet, as the bumper of the car is hanging off, rubbing on the bodywork, which is what that, rubbing on the tyre, I should say, which is what's causing that blue smoke. As Nash eases his way past the stricken Volkswagen. Pelinen takes a look up the outside of Gleeson, but no, indeed, the American hangs on. Oriola 3rd then, Vernet 4th, Nash 5th. Homola, I think, or was there contact there between the two? Homola hangs on from Morbidelli. From Kajaya. Homola closing the door on Morbidelli there. Gleeson's advantage over his young teammate, 0.3 of a second. Oriola already having made his way up to third, slight gap. Nash in fourth, Vernet in fifth, still trailing that bodywork. Oh, was that Kamini? Yes, it was, causing contact between the two. Kamini sideways. Is there a puncture on the rear? Yes, I think there is, as Kamini spins out. The 2015 TCR International Series champion getting caught up in that incident and being spun out. You have to say, a disastrous weekend for Kamini. As somebody, I think it was, and indeed Kamini coming into the pits in the background. Let's take a look at that again. There is Kamini behind you. He causes, there's contact between the two, and it's Kamini and Kajaya, I think it was. A puncture to the rear of Kamini's car, spins out. Here it is again. Indeed, Gratshov it was, not Kajaya, excuse me. But you can see there the puncture. And Kamini is just a passenger in that spin. He heads into the pits, but any chance of points from this race? And a jump start, we're being told, for Pellinen. Let's see if we can see that. Well, tricky to say, but Pellinen adjudged to have jumped the start. And Pellinen moving up behind Kevin Gleeson, but there will be a penalty. Kamini and Beliki in the pits. I saw a car going in ahead of Kamini, and it's one of the target competition Astras. So, not the start they wanted to their season. Now, this is contact. Is it between... Oh, that's the body damage of Vernet's car. Pepe Oriola now scrapping with Pellinen, having just set the quickest lap of the race so far. Now, can Oriola do the unthinkable of claiming 2 race victories from Bahrain? Pellinen defending at the moment, allowing Gleeson to get clear. So it's West Coast Racing 1 and 2, Craft Bamboo Lukoil 3 and 4. Then it's Morbidelli. Oh! And that's Homola, I think, running wide. Indeed it was, car 70, the grey B3 Racing Seat, as Oriola takes a look up the inside of Pellinen, but no, indeed, he's not quite close enough. He weaves, Pellinen defending. This is the battle to watch, the battle for second place between young Finn, Aku Pellinen, and the experienced Spaniard, Pepe Oriola, finished as runner-up in the 2015 TCR International Series. He runs wide, doesn't lose out to James Nash behind him. But moving, and he's up alongside Pellinen. Indeed, he passes. It's now James Nash taking a look up the inside as they come round turns 14 and 15 to slingshot back out onto this long start-finish straight. So there is our race leader, Kevin Gleeson. Pellinen and Pepe Oriola side by side going up the start-finish straight. James Nash dives up the inside. Does he have the line for the right-hander at turn 1? Will Nash hold on? Yes, he does. Oriola turns in, but indeed, Nash holds the place. Brilliant driving from the young British driver. So Nash up into second place. Pellinen still alongside Pepe Oriola. Morbidelli also in the mix. So it's Kevin Gleeson leading. Nash in second. Then it's Oriola, then Pellinen, then Morbidelli. There in the background is Jean-Carl Vernet, still running, and it appears that he's jettisoned the rear bumper. Oh, no, indeed, there's something still trailing from that car. So we're looking at this 4-way scrap for second, third, fourth and fifth. Pellinen and Morbidelli alongside each other. Pellinen has the line for the left-hander, but Morbidelli tucks inside. Oh, beautifully done. Forcing Pellinen to run wide. The experience of Gianni Morbidelli shines through. He loves making little moves like that. We have yellow flags. Now, what are we looking at here? Homola, I understand. That's him at the going through the corner now and running very wide. This is the moment that James Nash took second place. There he goes, alongside Pellinan, now alongside Oriola. Nash holds his nerve and says, thank you very much, I'll have second while you guys were scrapping it out. So Nash from Oriola, second and third at the moment. A reasonable cushion between first and those two. Oriola moves out, he now has the line. Some bodywork trailing from Nash's car. Can Oriola hold the line? Yes, I think he can. Oriola squeezes through and retakes the position. So Oriola back up into second place ahead of James Nash. Brilliant battle between these two teammates. But you have to say, fair driving, no contact between the pair, as there is our race leader Kevin Gleeson. Oriola now off in pursuit, but will he have to waste time defending from his teammate? Or will he be on the radio saying to his team, look, let me go? It's more important that I attack Gleeson than I defend from my teammate. Behind them, the two West Coast Racing Honda Civics of Gianni Morbidelli and Aku Pellinan. So all three of the Hondas in the top five at the moment. Sixth is Jean-Carl Vernet. Seventh is Kajaya. Eighth and ninth, the two B3 Racing Seats of Homola and Dusan Borkovic. And at the moment, rounding off the top 10 in the final point-scoring position, Sergei Afanasiev, pole sitter for race one. So Gleeson, Oriola, Nash, Morbidelli, Pellinan, Vernet, Kajaya. As Homola takes another look, is this going to be a repeat of the dramas from last night? Homola versus Kajaya. Homola came out on top last night. Can he do it again? At the moment, Kajaya has the upper hand. Halfway through this 10-lap race, Kevin Gleeson has a lead of nearly 2 seconds over Pepe Oriola. James Nash in third, Gianni Morbidelli in fourth. Oriola, Nash, Morbidelli, second, third, fourth, and the gap's now just starting to open up. Has Gleeson got enough of a cushion? Oh, and behind, I think the two B3 Seats are scrapping. I think I saw Dusan Borkovic pull up alongside Mato Homola. Gleeson on the brakes for the right-hander at turn one. And indeed, Dusan Borkovic has passed Mato Homola. So Borkovic has grabbed 8th place. Homola drops to 9th. Afanasiev still 10th. Jordi Oriola outside the points in 11th. Luigi Ferrara in the Subaru 12th. Michele Ceruti in the Alfa is 13th. And both of the Baskuten cars of Al Khalifa and Karimi 14th and 15th, with Grachov, Komini and Beliki. Indeed, Grachov has just come through and set a time, so 16 out of the 18 cars still running. One of the two Opels still going. And we're getting a message, black flag for car number 2. So all of that damage, race control is black flagging race number 2, which is Jean-Carl Vernet. There he is. So his race weekend is about to come to an end in not the way he wanted, nor the way that the team wanted, with a retirement for Stefano Comini in the pits after that incident earlier in the race. And Vernet about to join him. Oh, Homola over the curbs. Right, these are the two This is a replay of the two B3 Seats. There goes Borkovic up the inside of Homola in turn 14, forcing Homola to run wide, and indeed Dusan Borkovic squeezes past. That's the moment that 8th place changed hands. Yellow flags are out once again as the leader comes through turn 15 to start his 7th lap. Still Kevin Gleeson from the United States of the West Coast Racing Honda Civic ahead of Pepe Oriola. The gap now down to less than a second. James Nash in 3rd place. Morbidelli, I think, a little bit too far behind to have any effect, but certainly moves out and takes a look. Pellinen back in 5th. Vernay has come round in 6th. There he is at the top of your screens, but he has been black flagged, remember. Kajaya 7th, Borkovic 8th, Homola 9th, Avanasiev 10th, and if things stay as they are and Vernay comes in, Jordi Oriola in the Opel Astra will score the first point for the target competition team this season, and the brand new Opel Astra's first point in the TCR International Series. Now, gaps starting to close up between 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Kevin Gleeson's been in this position before. Some race victories in the inaugural TCR International Series. A brilliant start from the young American, right off the starting grid to lead the race. But there's the small matter of the two Craft Bamboo Lukoil Seats in his rearview mirror. Pepe Oriola looking for race victory number 2 of the weekend, and James Nash possibly wanting to prove a bit of a point to the team by passing his colleague. And behind, a scrap going on between Borkovic and Kajaya. Borkovic weaving around, and indeed I think he's got the line. He does indeed. Borkovic squeezes past Kajaya, the Seat going past the Volkswagen. So that's 7th place at the moment, soon to be 6th place when Jean-Carl Vernay comes in. And there is Vernay, and so Vernay pulling up, and the gap between 1st and 2nd coming down with every lap, it would appear. Let's take a look at the gap now as they head up towards the start-finish line. Kevin Gleeson still leads, about to start lap 8 of 10. Oh, disappointment for the Romeo Ferrari's team. Michele Ceruti pulling up and retiring that lovely little Alfa Romeo Giulietta. We're on lap 8 as Pepe Oriola looks to go round the outside of Kevin Gleeson. Gleeson, though, shuts the door. There's contact between the pair. Has Pepe Oriola muscled past? Yes, he has. Oriola takes the lead, doing exactly what he wanted to do. Gleeson not particularly happy about it, but it doesn't appear there's a great deal he can do as Nash now attacks. I'm not sure that there was contact between the pair there, but Nash muscles his way into 2nd. 1-2 for the Craft Bamboo Lukoil team. Gleeson drops from 1st to 3rd, just ahead of Morbidelli. Pellinen there behind the duo. As Morbidelli weaves and just takes a look up at the inside of his colleague. There in the background you saw Dusan Borkovic. But that's our leading pack, 1st to 5th. Our new race leader, Pepe Oriola. James Nash in 2nd place. Kevin Gleeson now 3rd. Gianni Morbidelli 4th. Aku Pellinen 5th. Right, let's just take a look at that moment again. Pause for a moment to catch our breaths as Pepe Oriola goes initially round the outside, side by side with Kevin Gleeson. The pair touch. Oh, Gleeson having to give way, and then James Nash seizes his chance. Through goes Pepe Oriola, and shortly afterwards James Nash eases through as well. Jean-Carl Vernay, I'm told, is in the pits, so that will be the end of his race, as we're looking at the scrap between the two West Coast Racing Honda teammates of Kevin Gleeson and Gianni Morbidelli. Morbidelli weaving all over the back of Gleeson's car as Pepe Oriola and James Nash head off, having built a slightly comfortable advantage, you have to say. Through they come to start lap 9 of 10. There goes Oriola, there goes Nash, there is Gleeson, Morbidelli, Pellinen. Behind them in 6th place, Dusan Borkovic, 7th, David Kajaya, 8th, Mato Homola, 9th, Sergei Avanasiev, 10th will be Jordi Oriola in the Opel. And Oriola must be delighted at the prospect of his second victory. Pellinen, though, having a look at the inside of Morbidelli. What is it about the young not respecting their elders? I wonder if Morbidelli will have something to say about that. Aku Pellinen, though, just taking a look at the inside of Gianni Morbidelli, not making the move stick. But clearly, he's not happy staying at the back of that West Coast Racing trio. So, just to confuse matters, the red and blue car is Gleeson, the red car is Morbidelli, the blue car is Pellinen. Thankfully, the race numbers on the windscreens are nice and large this year. And you have to say, some of the youngsters, some of the new drivers to TCR have shone this weekend, have shown that they're not to be muscled out, but they're more experienced and older teammates. Morbidelli takes a brief look up at the inside of Kevin Gleeson, but no, indeed, the American hangs on to 3rd place. There's a podium finish up for grabs here, and Gleeson is, oh no, just as I was saying it, Gleeson runs slightly wide, leaves the door open ever so slightly, contact between the pair, Gleeson runs wide, Morbidelli is through, and Gleeson will be kicking himself for that brief lapse in concentration as Pellinen now takes a look up the inside of Gleeson and squeezes through as well. Gleeson locks up and goes straight on into the wall, possibly. No, indeed. Looks like his brakes went and just wasn't able to stop, so that's a bitterly disappointing result for Kevin Gleeson, who did so well right at the start of the race. There is our leader on the final lap now, Pepe Oriola. Car 74 ahead of 54 James Nash. Gianni Morbidelli now 3rd. Aku Pellinen in 4th. Now let's take a look at this again. This is the move from Morbidelli on Gleeson. Contact between the pair. Now, what has that broken, if anything? And I think that, indeed, that is the end of the race for Kevin Gleeson. A bitter disappointment. He pulls up on the start-finish straight at the end of the Formula One pit lane. He pulls out of the way, but he will be bitterly disappointed. 2 non-finishes when, for so much of this race, it looked as though a victory was on the cards. However, it looks to be almost the perfect race weekend for Pepe Oriola. The only man to score a full haul of points so far in the TCR International Series is that man, Gianni Morbidelli, when he got the 5 points for pole position and a 25 for each race victory at Monza last year. Oriola said to me yesterday, almost the perfect start to his season, but he didn't get pole position. I suspect he'll be happy enough with 2 race victories. James Nash, though, in 2nd place. Now, what's happening behind these two? We're looking at the 2 Craft Bamboo Lukoil cars, but indeed, Pellinen through into 3rd. Where's Morbidelli? Morbidelli's dropped to 5th. Morbidelli's got a puncture. There's blue smoke trailing from the Honda, and that, I suspect, is a result of the contact with Gleeson. Now, can he nurse the car round to the finish line? But at the moment, it looks like only one of the West Coast Racing cars will finish the race as the tyre comes off the rubber. Pepe Oriola, though, comes round turn 15 for the final time to take the checkered flag for the 2nd time this weekend. The lights flash, as do those on James Nash's car. And a brilliant performance to finish on the podium from the young Finnish driver Aku Pellinen. Dusan Borkovic 4th. David Kajaya started from pole, finishes 5th. Mato Homola 6th. Can Morbidelli nurse that car round? No tyre at all. Can Jordi Oriola out-drag him to the line? Yes, he can. The car twitching. Jordi Oriola finishes 8th, Morbidelli 9th, and Luigi Ferrara scoring a point for the Subaru. Now the car locking up, the front locking up there, already smoke from the tyre. So was there damage caused by that collision with Kevin Gleeson? And this is the moment that Aku Pelinen moves into a podium place, having sneaked his way past Morbidelli because of the Italian driver's problem, and indeed the car already leaning to one side, the moment where the tyre comes off the rim, and off it goes on its own as Pepe Oriola heads around on his slowing down lap. Race victory number 2 from 2. A superb weekend's work for the Spanish driver, and a huge points lead after just 2 races in the TCR International Series. A long, long way to go, though. 22 races this year before it all wraps up in Macau once again in November. And I wonder if we'll have as many dramas at the end of the series as we did in 2015. Another incident-packed TCR International Series race. And this is how things finished. Victory goes to Pepe Oriola in the Seats, his teammate James Nash alongside him. Aku Pelinen 3rd on the podium. Dusan Borkovic pleased, I suspect, with 4th. David Kajaya salvaging 5th. Mato Homola 6th. Sergei Avanasiev 7th. Jordi Oriola snatching 8th from Gianni Morbidelli at the last possible moment. And Luigi Ferrara giving a solitary point to the top run team in the Subaru for finishing in. So Kevin Gleeson, Mikhail Grachov, Jean-Carl Vernet, Michela Cerruti, Stefano Camini and Andrea Bellicchi not scoring any points from this race in Bahrain. Once again, the drivers acknowledging the marshals. Thanks, guys, for standing out in this heat and looking after us. As the windows open on the cars to get some air in what must be some very hot driving environments. Just looking across at my monitor, track temperature has come down slightly to 36 degrees, but air temperature remaining at 26. A beautiful day here in Bahrain, and some terrific touring car races this weekend. We were expecting dramas, we were expecting incidents, and boy, we were disappointed. Aku Pelinen will be delighted. The young Finn, his dad Pekka, is here with him. And that is Pepe Oriola Senior in the red shirt, saluting his son, jumping up and down with excitement. Always a familiar figure at the TCR races, comes to support both his sons whenever he can. And he will be pleased, I suspect, with Jordi's result as well. But Pepe Oriola, do you know, I think he's quite pleased with that performance. Richard Coleman and Andrew Chisholm from the Craft Bamboo Lukoil team going over to congratulate their man. Nick Clipson, the team's chief engineer, congratulating James Nash. Father and son, those are the pictures that will be all over the websites later on. Jaime Puig from Seat Sport congratulating. And also, you can't forget the man who finished in 3rd, Aku Pelinen. And you know, I think there's a bright future ahead for that young Finnish driver. And you can just see his dad there in the background as he gets congratulated on his performance. But a familiar result then, 2 Seats and a Honda finishing on the podium in both races, with Pepe Oriola taking victories in both. There is Oriola. We'll be speaking to him in a few moments after they've had a chance to spray the champagne and to collect their trophies on the podium. But the engineers and mechanics congratulating their man. Our congratulations to Pepe Oriola and the Craft Bamboo Lukoil team for a job brilliantly done this weekend. And with Afanasiev setting the pole time in qualifying, it's been pretty much a perfect weekend for the British team, who had some late nights in the run-up to Bahrain, preparing their brand new 2016 spec Seat Leons, including a couple of engine changes. But guys, I think it was worth it. There are our podium finishers' cars. And there are our podium finishers. 2 wins, says Pepe Oriola. There is a much shorter finish. 3rd place finisher, Aku Pelinen. Well done, guys. Brilliant, brilliant race.
Yeah. Watching you two's hard work.
Kevin's a bit feisty.
Oh, this is James Nash's car. So, sporting some battle damage. I don't recall that happening at all. We'll find out from James Nash when it happened.
Here they are then, ladies and gentlemen, the first podium.
All right, let's hand over for the podium ceremony from our Master of Ceremonies, Bob Constanduros.
In 2nd place, from Great Britain, James Nash. And the winner for Team Craft Bamboo Lukoil, as yesterday, Pepe Oriola from Spain. And in his honor, the Spanish national anthem. Victory of the weekend for him. The trophy is presented to him by Matilda Tomagnini, Marketing Director of SEL Logistics. Congratulations to Pepe, that should be to Pepe Oriola. Well done. To the 2nd place driver, James Nash, the trophy is presented by Sharif Al-Mahdi, Bahrain International Circuit Commercial Director. And to the 3rd place driver, Aku Pelinen, the trophy is presented by Abdulaziz Al-Thawadi, Bahrain Motor Federation General Manager. And to the winning team, Team Craft Bamboo Lukoil, the trophy is presented to Andrew Chisholm by Matilda Tomagnini, Marketing Director of SEL Logistics. Well done, gentlemen. If you'd like to get together now for the photograph. And now, let the celebrations begin. Let's have a word with the winners. Pepe, another win. Here he is, the winner again for the 2nd time. Another win for you. Well done, congratulations. What a start to the series.
Yeah, I'm so happy, obviously, especially this race was a little bit more hard because I didn't have as good a start as I had in yesterday's race. But then the car was fantastic. We made some changes on the setup and it really worked. And it was a really good race, and I'm really happy to have this double win, and it makes me really happy in the classification for the moment.
Congratulations, well done, James. You've just got one problem, is perhaps Pepe, yeah?
It's a nice problem for the team manager to have, I think. But it's going to be a difficult season. I knew it coming into this year. There's some fantastic drivers, and the cars are very equal in different ways. So it's really pleasing to be up here on the podium again.
Now, the only thing is, you've got a big hole in your windscreen. Where did that come from?
JK's car. I think he had a bodywork issue, and as I was behind him, something came off and smashed the windscreen. But I think that's the least of our problems.
John Calveni referring to. And Aku Pelanen, congratulations, well done, third place. A bit lucky, but you were right there, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. In the end, it was quite lucky. I was just watching what the others are doing in front of me. And in the beginning, I had struggled with the car with the traction, and I couldn't keep these two guys behind me. So after that, I just decided to drive clever, and today it paid off.
Well done, congratulations, gentlemen, congratulations, well done. We'll see you again in Formula One in Singapore and then Malaysia. We'll look forward to that. In the meantime, we've got Porsches coming up shortly, and of course the Grand Prix as well. Thank you very much indeed, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And now we know what that mystery hole in James Nash's windscreen was all about. Two terrific races here in Bahrain get the 2016 TCR International Series underway. Thanks to you for your company. The series next starts its European leg in a few weeks' time with two races at Estoril in Portugal on April the 23rd and 24th. But from Bahrain, goodbye.